Buy Sri Lanka's best internet package for online learning and online working with many amazing offers. Call 1212 for more information. Sri Lanka Telecom.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, the wishes of the people. Government announces tabling of the draft bill of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution in Parliament in its original form. Uncomfortable questions. Samagi Janabalawege MP Harin Fernando warned by Easter Commission chairman for verbal attack on Cardinal's lawyer during testimony. Entering a new era. Colombo Stock Exchange goes digital with mobile application.
Is a first step that repositions Sri Lanka in a digital marketplace.
We can no longer depend on the foreign loan. This is the place where you can raise funds for your development projects.
Taking responsibility. Captain of MT New Diamond summoned before court while government plans 340 million rupee compensation from ship owner. All this and much more coming up on this Thursday, the 17th of September 2020.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
Nava sunlight sakura. Then dikukal pavatina sakura mal suandin.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Harin Fernando. Moving on to your top stories for tonight. Minister of Trade Dr. Bandula Gunawardena today stated that the Cabinet unanimously decided to present the gazetted draft bill of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution in Parliament in its original form. Meanwhile, Cabinet co-spokesman Minister Keheliya Rambukwella addressing the Cabinet media briefing today affirmed that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the Cabinet will take complete responsibility for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. To this, members of the opposition voiced against the proposed 20th Amendment on the claims that it paves way for a dictatorship and requested parliamentarians not to provide support.
The amendments proposed by the committee appointed by the Prime Minister to report the shortcomings on the draft bill of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution were scheduled to be presented to the Cabinet yesterday, but were not tabled. Accordingly, 14 days have elapsed since the draft bill of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution was gazetted, and from any time now on, it can be included in the order book of the Parliament.
කමිටුවක් පත් කරා. ඒ කමිටුව වාර්තාව කැමැතිතුමාට මේ පෙරේදා ලැබුණා. නමුත් ඒ අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩල රැස්වීමේදී ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කිසිදු සාකච්ඡාවක් වුණේ නැහැ කියලා අපිට දැනගන්න ලැබුණා. ඉතින් මේක හදිස්සියෙම ඇවිල්ලා එකපාරට ගොළුවා සවබිව්වා වගේ නිස්සද්ද වුණා.
නෑ එහෙම නිශ්ශබ්ද වීමක් නෑ. කවුද කිව්වේ? ලොකුවට සාකච්ඡා කරා. කැබිනට් එකේ කාලේ සීමාවෙන් භාගයකට 150කට වැඩිය ගත්තේ සම්බන්ධව. ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයත් සම්පූර්ණ වගකීම් බාර ගන්නවා.
යහපාලන නඩුවට කරපු චෝදනාව තමයි හැමදාම පනත් ගේනවා අකුල ගන්නවා කියලා. දැන් අපිට පේන්නේ දැන් ඔබතුමාලත් ඒ වැඩියම නේද මේ කරන්නේ. එකපාර මේ වැඩි කරන්නේ
අකුල ගැනීමක්. කෙසේවත්ම අපි මේ පනත අපසු ලබා ගැනීමක් හෝ හැරවීමක් සිදු කළා නැහැ.
කවුද ඇත්තටම මේ 20 සංශෝධනය හැදුවේ?
මේකට ප්‍රධානීත්වය උනේ ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා. ඒකට සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම සාමූහික වගකීමකින් කටයුතු කරා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය. 20 සංශෝධනයේ කවද්ද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා?
ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පක්ෂ නායක රැස්වීමේදී තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම සිදු කළායි.
අපිට 3න් 2ක් බලය දුන්නේ 19 වෙනස් කරන්නමයි. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒක නොකරොත් ඒක අපි ජනතාවට එන ද්‍රෝහයක්.
20 වෙනි සංශෝධනයේ කැබිනට් එකට ඉදිරිපත් කරපු පළවෙනි දවසේම සටහනක් තිබ්බා. මේ සාකච්ඡා කිරීමට නොව අනුමත කිරීමට පමණයි කියලා. ඉතින් ඒකෙන්ම පේනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ යන ගමන් මාර්ගය මේ එක්සත් ජනතා නිදහස් සන්ධානයේ පොහොට්ටුවට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයට ඒක ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් නැහැ. ඒ නිසා එහෙන් මෙන් අටවාගත් සංශෝධන වලට කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ඊයේ සාමාන්‍ය භාෂාවෙන් කියනවා නම් විශාල වලියක්. ඒ වගේම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු මේකට ඡන්ද දෙනවා නම් තමන්ගේම බෙල්ල කපා ගැනීමක් කරන්නේ.
මේ 19 ගෙනාපු යට වෙච්ච දේ බලන්න. සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමාම කියනවා මේ 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනය මම දන්නෙත් නැහැ කියලා. ඒ ජනාධිපති හිටපු අගමැතිවරයාට දෙයියන්ගේ පිටින් ජනතාවක් ගුවා කරුණාකරලා ගෙදර යන්න කියලා. අවුරුදු 43ක දේශපාලන ජීවිතේට සමු දුන්නා. 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනයේ ගේන්න කෙටුම්පත් කරපු පිබුරුපත් හදපු මංගල සමරවීර අන්න ගෙදරට වෙලා සුව නිින්දේ ඉන්නවා. 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනය හදන්න පෑන දීපු කොලේ දීපු පොත ලියපු අය තිර රචකෝ එක්කෙනෙක්වත් හොයලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඉන්නවද කියලා. හොයාගන්න නැහැ. අපි බොහොම වගකීමකින් කියනවා. අපි ශක්තිමත් රජයක්. අපි ගත්තු තීන්දුව ආපස්සට ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන රජයක් නෙවෙයි.
වීරියක් එක් වාගේ පෙන්නු 19. එහෙම වරදක් නැහැ. මම හුඟක්ම කම්පා වෙච්ච දෙයක් තමයි. මේ යෝජිත අදහස් අනුව ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තැපැල් කන්තෝරුවක තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට තියෙන්නේ ස්ටැම්ප් එක ගන්න විතරයි.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ඒකමතිකව තීරණය කළ අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට අවශ්‍ය ආකාරයට ඉදිරිපත් කරපු කෙටුම්පත පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න එහිදී අවශ්‍ය සංශෝධන තියෙනවා නම් ඒ සංශෝධන පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුලේ කරන්න.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය විසින් අනුමත කරපු 20 සංශෝධනය පිළිබඳ අධ්‍යයනය කිරීම සඳහා අගමැතිවරයා විසින් තවත් කමිටුවක් පත් කරනවා. ලොකුම විහිළුව තමයි ඒ කමිටුවේ කැබිනට් අමාත්‍යවරුම 5 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නේ. මේ 20 සම්මත වෙන්න කලින් කැබිනට් අමාත්‍යවරු රූකඩ බවට පත් වෙච්ච විදිය. ඊයේ කැබිනට් එකේදී ජනාධිපතිතුමා කිව්වයි කියලා කියනවා. ඒක වගකීම එතුමා බාර ගන්නවා. හැබැයි මේක හැදුවේ කවුද කියලා කිව්වේ නැහැ. විශේෂයෙන්ම ආණ්ඩුපක්ෂයේ අමාත්‍යවරුන්ගේ සහ මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ අපි ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා මේකාධිපති ගමනට පාර කපන 20 සංශෝධනය ඉස්සෙල්ලම හතුරු වෙන්නේ ඔබට. ඒ නිසා මේකට අත උස්සන්න සහයෝගය දෙන්න ඡන්දය දෙන්න සූදානම් වෙන්න එපා.
Samagi Jana Balawegya MP Harin Fernando was questioned on the comments he made following the Easter Sunday attacks regarding prior warnings received by his father, who had then warned the MP to not attend Easter Sunday church services that day. During the proceedings, the MP engaged in a heated exchange with the attorney representing the Archbishop of Colombo. Questions raised on the issue, which led to the MP being given a stern warning by the Commission's chairman.
Former Minister Harin Fernando appeared before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday attacks last evening to answer questions regarding comments he made following the attacks relating to prior information received by the minister's father on the threat of an attack. At the outset, the Samagi Jana Balawegya MP revealed that he had received a phone call from his sister during the first series of attacks, where she stated, "We were going to church and then to the Kingsbury Hotel, but father called me last night and told me not to go." He added that after informing Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, he proceeded to visit his father at an intensive care unit of a private hospital in Colombo, where when he inquired from his father as to how he knew of the threat, he was told, "I know a lot more than you." He also stated that he suspected that it was an officer of the CID who had informed his father at the time. To this, the senior state counsel at the commission informed the witness that it had been revealed that a 356-second phone conversation was held between a CID sergeant named Nandalal and his father on the eve of the attacks. The senior state counsel also revealed that the CID sergeant Nandalal was part of the team that visited Vanatha Villua in search of explosives and sought to arrest Zaran Hashim associate Ami Mohideen. Further, the witness was also told that during Ami Mohideen's arrest, a photograph of Sergeant Nandalal was found on the suspect's mobile phone. Addressing the commission, the MP denied that his father had personally contacted him and warned him not to attend church services, and that he had only stated what his sister had told him at the media conference he held at the time. He added that his statement at the time where he said, "My father is in hospital, he called me last night and told me not to go to church. The intelligence services had this information. My father called me and told me not to go to the Kochikade church," had been used by the media to politically slander him. To this, the appeals court judge at the commission asked the witness whether the media had ever publicized any statement that he did not make before. The MP responded that the media had only reported on what he had said, and that although he spoke at the press conference for 45 minutes, the media had only focused on the part where he stated that his father knew about the attack beforehand. The witness was then asked by a member of the commission whether it would be expected that media personnel would only report on the most newsworthy information included in his 45-minute media statement. The MP added that due to this he was deeply embarrassed when the Cardinal made a statement saying, "Our people are dead, but the minister is alive." He added that with many parties claiming to have had prior warnings of the attacks, he did not believe that the church alone was not privy to the information. The former minister told the commission that an inquiry must be held to determine whether the reason for the Cardinal not holding his traditional Easter service on that day could have been due to his having had prior warning. Following this statement, attorney for His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, Shanil Pereira, told the witness that the Cardinal usually presided over midnight mass for Easter Sunday. He then asked the witness whether he was willing to accept that the service was held with the presence of the Cardinal at St. Lucia's Cathedral, Cottahena on 20th of April. To this, the MP responded that he was not aware of it and admitted that his statement was made sans any evidence and because it came to his mind on the spur of the moment. Thereafter, the council inquired from MP Fernando with regards to his nephew who was studying at a Catholic private school in Colombo. The attorney revealed to the commission that the school's rugby team, of which the MP's nephew was a team member, had trained at the Sukadasa Stadium in Colombo on Easter Sunday last year, and the team was supposed to go to St. Anthony's Church in Kochigade afterwards. The attorney then pointed out to the commission that on that day, only the nephew of MP Harin Fernando did not attend the training sessions. However, the Member of Parliament, who appeared deeply disturbed by the question, raised objections to the Cardinal's attorney bringing up the subject and proceeded to verbally attack the attorney. Following this outburst, the chairman of the commission issued a stern warning to the MP, reminding him that it was disrespectful to the commission to behave in such a manner and to disrespect the lawyer who is a witness at the commission.
අනවශ්‍ය ප්‍රශ්න ආඩින නියෝජනය කරලා ඒ වගේ ලෝකෙක කරන කතෝලික මිනිහ අක්කගේ වැඩ
කාදල් හේපානන්න නියෝජනය කරපු ජනාධිපති නීතිඥවරයා ඔබතුමාගෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් යොමු කළා මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයේ දවසේ ඔබතුමාගේ ඥාති පුත්‍රයෙක් විද්‍යාලයේ තිබ්බ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකට සහභාගී වෙලා නැහැ. ඔවුන් ඊට පස්සේ කොච්චිකඩේ දේවස්ථානට යන්න ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. මොකද්ද මේ ගැටලුව?
අණ්ඩායම ගිහිල්ලත් නැහැ. මම හිතනවා මේ වගේ පහත් මාධ්‍ය කරණය ගැන මම ගොඩක් කනගාටු වෙනවා. දැන් මේක තමයි උස්සන්නේ එක නාලිකාවක් යා ෆෝන් නම්බර පෙන්නන්නත් පුළුවන් මෙතන. එයාට මේක මාර ලොකු ආතල් එකක් වෙනවා. කරරියන්න. ඔබතුමාත් එක්ක මට කතා කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඔබතුමාගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න. මම මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කලබල වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මම මගේ ගමනත් යනවා. මම ඒ වගේම මේක ඔප්පු කරලා කොහොම හරි මගේ කාලය තුලදී ඒක පෙන්නන්නට මම කටයුතු කරනවා.
දැන් ඔබතුමා කියන දේවල් අපේ වාර්තාකරණය කරපුවම ඔබතුමා ඒ කියන්නේ මාධ්‍ය
මම ඔබතුමාට ප්‍රශ්න දුන්නා. මට ඔබතුමාගේ ආයතනය මොකද්ද කියන්නේ?
මම ටීවී දෙරණ.
හරි. එන්න මම ඔබතුමාත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න කැමති නැහැ. මට ඔබතුමාට උත්තර දෙන්න බැඳිලා නැහැ මම. ඒ ඔබතුමාගේ එකේ වෙඩි ලියලා මට ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නද?
During today's weekly cabinet media briefing, cabinet spokesman Keheliya Rambukwala announced key cabinet proposals decided at yesterday's cabinet meeting. He announced that non-essential agricultural products that can be produced locally, trade goods and vehicle imports will be halted temporarily. Meanwhile, cabinet co-spokesman Dr. Ramesh Patirana says that the relevant laws regarding the minimum age of employment will be amended so that the new age limit will now be 16 years.
1996 අංකයක දරන අනයන හා අපනයන පාලන පනත යටතේ නිකුත් කරන ලද රෙගුලාසි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අනුමැතියට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම දේශීය වගා කළ හැකි හෝ නිෂ්පාදනය කළ හැකි අත්‍යවශ්‍ය නොවන භාණ්ඩ, වෙළඳ භාණ්ඩ සහ මෝටර් වාහන අයන තාවකාලිකව අත්හිටවීමට තීන්දුව කරලා තිබෙනවා. දෙවැනි එක සැපයුම්කරුවන් විසින් ලබා දෙන ලද ණය පහසුකම් මත හෝ විදේශ විනිමය වැය නොවන පදනම මත තෝරාගත් භාණ්ඩ ආනයනය සඳහා අවසර ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම දේශීය කර්මාන්ත කෘෂිකාර්මාන්තයේ අපනයන සැපයුම් සහ දේශීය පාරිභෝජනය සඳහා අවශ්‍ය තෝරාගත් භාණ්ඩ අපනයන කිරීම සඳහා අවසර ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා.
ලංකාවට ආනයනය කරන සමහර භාණ්ඩ සඳහා සෙස් බඳු පැනවීමෙන් නිදහස් කිරීමට විශේෂයෙන්ම ඖෂධ, සෞඛ්‍ය ආරක්ෂණ උපකරණ, යන්ත්‍රෝපකරණ සහ ඒ හා අදාළ භාණ්ඩ රටට ගෙන්වීමේදී සෙස් බඳු ඉවත් කරන ලෙස තමයි ඉල්ලීමක් කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි සිමෙන්ති කැට ආනයනය කිරීමේදී සෙස් බඳු ඉවත් කරන්නටත් සමහර පාවහ නිෂ්පාදන සහ අවශ්‍ය කොටස් සහ බල්බ සහ නැම්මිශිලි ඇසුරුම් ද්‍රව්‍ය ආනයනය කිරීමේදී සෙස් බඳු පැනවීමටත් තුමන් යෝජනා කරලා තිබෙනවා. තුමා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ඊයේ යෝජනා කළා අපනයන ආදායම සෙස් බඳු හරහා ලැබෙන භාණ්ඩාගාරයට යන සෙස් බඳු ආදායමෙන් භාගයක් අපනයන දිරිමත් කිරීම සඳහා අපනයන ප්‍රවාදන මණ්ඩලය සඳහා ලබා දෙන්න කියලා යෝජනාවක් එතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කළා. විදුලිය සැපීම වෙනුවෙන් කෙරවැල පිටියේ මෙගාවොට් 300ක දෙවෙනි ඒකාබද්ධ චක්‍රීය ද්‍රවීකృత වායු LNG විදුලි බලාගාරයක් ඉදිරිපත් සඳහා අවශ්‍ය අනුමැතිය ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා. සේවකයින් සේවයේ යෙදවිය හැකි වයස් සීමාව අවුරුදු 16 දක්වා ඉහළ දැමීම සඳහා කම්කරු නීති සංශෝධනය කරන්නටත් කරන ලද ඉල්ලීමකට යෝජනාවකට කැබිනට් අනුමැතිය ලැබිලා දීලා තිබෙනවා.
More news on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Enjoy a very smooth shave with the Bic Easy 2 razor. Bic Easy 2.
Welcome back. In more news, the Colombo Magistrate Court issued summons for the captain of the vessel MT New Diamond to appear before court on the 28th of September to answer for the fire that broke out on the 3rd of this month. Meanwhile, Attorney General Dappula D. Livera presented a proposal for the seeking of 340 million rupees compensation to the legal representatives of the ship's owner yesterday.
The Colombo magistrate today issued summons for the captain of the MT New Diamond oil tanker to appear before the courts on the 28th of September. The order was issued after considering a request made by Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Peiris. The Attorney General's coordinating officer, State Counsel Nishara Jayaratne, said that the Attorney General is of the view that the captain of the MT New Diamond had committed offences punishable under the provisions of the Marine Pollution Prevention Act No. 35 of 2008. Accordingly, the CID was also directed to report facts against the captain under the provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure to the Magistrates Court. The Sri Lankan government is claiming Rs 340 million as compensation from the owners of the tanker for expenses incurred by various government agencies engaged in firefighting and rescue operations. Attorney General Dapula Dilivera presented the request for compensation to the lawyers representing the owners of the ship.
The Crime Bureau of the India's Criminal Investigation Department have revealed that underworld figure Anguda Lokka died of a heart attack in Coimbatore in India and no foul play was involved. Now let's take a look at the latest on the government's operations against drugs and other criminal activities. The CID presented facts before the Galle magistrate regarding threats made by criminal gang members Pudilasi and Koskoda Taraka against the President and Defence Secretary for the first time via a B report on the 8th of September. With that, the case was heard for the second time today at the Galle Magistrates Court under heavy security. During the hearing, Galle Magistrate Harshana Kakunavela instructed that Janit Madhushankar alias Podilasi be named the second suspect in the case following the consideration of a motion filed by the CID. The magistrate also ordered the remanding of the suspect until the 25th of this month. Following the conclusion of proceedings for the day, Podilasi was then brought to the Balapitiya Magistrate Court under STF guard for the consideration of a bail application in connection with a case over his ownership of several SIM cards used in a heroin racket in 2017. During the hearing, the Balapitiya Magistrate instructed that future hearings be conducted via Skype to avoid bringing the criminals to court. Despite the magistrate ordering the suspects to be released on bail, he was transported back to the Booster prison as no one came forward to bail him out. Meanwhile, excise officers arrested 14 suspects for their involvement in cannabis and illicit liquor racketeering during a search operation conducted in Methotamulla last night. In another development, the Kotikavatta police arrested a 19-year-old suspect with 5.22 grams of heroin and a sum of 80,000 rupees cash in his possession. Meanwhile, 4 more suspects were arrested in Balangoda today in connection with the attempted assault of police officers during a raid on a cannabis racket operated by drug racketeer Kotukula Rifai in Atalugama. Meanwhile, the police have so far arrested 13,444 suspects from the 1st of September to date on charges of drug racketeering and possession and also for weapons possession. Out of the arrested suspects, 4,712 were nabbed for possession of over 27 kilograms of heroin. What's more, 208 suspects were arrested with 370.483 grams of crystal methamphetamine. In the meantime, a senior officer of the Indian Criminal Investigation Department Crime Branch has stated that underworld figure Madhumagela Santachandana Pereira, alias Angoda Lokka, died of heart attack in Coimbatore and no foul play was involved in his death. Also revealed was that no poison were mentioned during post-mortem, chemical examination and histopathology. In the meantime, the Ramanathapuram court has ordered the remanding for another 5 days the Sri Lanka police constable who was arrested on the 5th of September by the Dhanushkodi police. The remanded Sri Lankan PC who was attached to the Colombo crime division is a wanted suspect in connection with the seizure of 23 kilograms of heroin from Sapugaskanda. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa participated in a religious program organized to mark the 156th birth anniversary of Anagarika Dharmapala today. During the event, the governor of the central bank, Professor W.D. Lakshman, also presented a commemorative coin to the president.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived at the Mahabodhi Agrashravaka Mahaviharaya in Maliga Kanda this morning and placed floral tributes at the statue of Anagarika Dharmapala, with today marking his 156th birth anniversary. The head of state then planted a red sandalwood plant at the premises to mark the commencement of the project Suvadarani, which was started by the State Ministry of Indigenous Medicine Promotion, Rural and Ayurvedic Hospitals Development with the aim of conserving medical plants. President Gotabaya then engaged in religious observances. Following this, Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman presented an Anagarika Dharmapala commemorative coin to the President.
We'll return after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Welcome back. In your business news, the Colombo Stock Exchange went digital today, seeking to enable investors to create CDS accounts and engage with the stock market in a more user-friendly manner in mere minutes. The ceremony included the launch of a new CSC mobile application, as well as the relaunch of the revamped CSC and SCC digital touchpoints, including new CSC, SCC and CDS websites covering trade information, regulatory information, as well as investor-centric information.
The Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka and the Colombo Stock Exchange launched the digitalization of the Sri Lanka stock market today at a special ceremony attended by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa as the chief guest. Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Harin Fernando, in his opening remarks at the launch ceremony of the new CSE mobile application, stated that new users will be able to open accounts with the central deposit system and with stockbrokers in a matter of minutes and begin trading within just an hour.
The step we are taking today to digitalize the stock market is a first step towards a transformation that can reposition Sri Lanka in a digital financial marketplace. Now, if we are serious about enabling wealth generation for every citizen, there are three things we need to do. Make it easier for citizens to learn about and access the stock market. Make it easier and more efficient for transactions to take place end to end. And number three, to make it cheaper for everyone to do all of the above. The digitalization of the CSC does exactly these things. With the new digitalization app, users will be able to open an account at the central depository system or as well as with the stockbroker in a matter of minutes, and they will be able to start trading within an hour. In addition, from today, trade settlements, including sending a trade confirmation as well as payment settlements, can be done entirely online. With this, the Colombo Stock Exchange can also safely operate completely virtually, even in a lockdown scenario that we experienced earlier this year.
Meanwhile, SEC Director General Chintaka Mendis called on the government to seek funding for its development projects at the stock exchange, saying that the country should no longer depend on foreign loans.
Let me tell you, for decades we have not what was required to our market. However, we have not done that. Simply, we were not ready when it really mattered. However, I am happy to declare that all the regulatory and operational requirements are now in place to facilitate the new era. Our digitalization efforts will effectively place our market in line with emerging markets, and it will create a new breed of investors far and wide to unveil the untapped potential of our capital market. What we need now is increase the use of digital technology and intensify the use of technology. For that matter, we need to invest on our children. We need to inculcate the habit of investing in capital market. For that matter, SCC wants to include capital market as a subject when it comes to school curriculum. When it comes to economic development, we can no longer depend on the foreign loans. Therefore, Honorable Prime Minister, let me tell you, this is the place where you can raise funds for your ambitious development projects. So don't look elsewhere. This is the place where we can fund the development projects of your government.
Meanwhile, Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Viraj Dayaratna stated that the CSE's operational weaknesses, which were exposed by the COVID-19 lockdown, acted as a wake-up call for the digitalization move.
Sri Lanka did not find it all that hard to change the way we think and was the first Asian country to set up a fully automated depository system, the CDS, and by 1997, the Colombo Stock Exchange was one of the first in Asia
to introduce an automated system for share transactions. Unfortunately, however, we had gone into a state of slumber. The wake-up call from that slumber had to come in the form of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. The inability to keep the stock exchange open during the curfew exposed our deficiencies. That is when the SEC decided that it will take the lead in ensuring that all operations of the stock market can take place without any interruption, come rain or sunshine.
State Minister of Money, Capital Market and State Enterprise Reforms Ajit Newat Cabral, meanwhile, called on the stock market operators to set their sights high and seek to both double the number of companies listed on the exchange and also work towards a $60 billion market capitalization in the next 5 years.
The digitalization will take away from you a lot of the paperwork that have been so far done by you personally. When you are relieved of those duties, I'm sure you will find enough time to make this market work. When someone asks how many companies are there in the stock exchange, we say 200 something. Now this 200 something has been the number for the last 30 years, I think. So the next 5 years, we would like to see that number being spoken of as 500 something. 2014, when Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa relinquished office, the market capitalization of the Colombo Stock Exchange was $25 billion. By the end of 2019, it had come down to $12.5 billion. Set your sights at a $60 billion for the next 5 years.
Sri Lankan shares ended higher for an 8th straight session today, helped mainly by a surge in financial stocks. The all share price index closed up 1.31% at 5,658.66 and the market turnover was 3.41 billion rupees. Here's a brief report on how the market traded today.
Today, a stock market index reached near 8-month high, mainly aided by the extended rally in the mid-cap counters. And today we saw mainly heavy buying interest in selected materials and banking sector counters. And finally, market closed the day at 5,659 points, recording the highest intraday gain of 73 points after 3.5 months. Foreign investors continue to be net sellers with low foreign participation.
The Sri Lankan rupee closed flat at 185 rupees to 185 rupees and 10 cents against the US dollar today, while bond yields remained unchanged. Now let's have a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day today. With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining. I'm Harin Fernando. Have a good night.